LCAP is
The Local Control Accountability Plan.
The LCAP is the Local Control
Accountability Plan.
it's a document of recommendations.
El CAP es el nuevo control de financiamiento que tienen las escuelas de California para obtener fondos del Estado.
It is how some of the funds are spent locally in our school districts.
In other words, it will be a tool to bring equity.
Making sure that the money that the district is receiving is well spent between all the schools.
Una de las cosas que es muy importante para mí envolverme en el LCAP es porque yo no quiero que otras personas tomen la decisión por mis hijos.
I've lived in this house, married and with the boys back here for now 10 years. It was different from when I grew up because when I grew up in this house, it was fun. Neighborhood kids and always outside playing and, it really felt like home. I don't even think I would let my kids go outside and play. That's just some of the changes that the community has brought. Salvador. So my routine is exactly as it is today. I get up at 5-ish because my husband leaves to work at that time, and then waking up the boys about 7, getting them ready for school, and 7:40-ish, we're out the door. So by that time, the boys will go tell their grandparents, and I'll kind of give them a rundown of my day. Do I have a meeting? Do I have this coming up? So they know. Sometimes I'm out all day, depending on what I have to do. And then I picked them up at 2:30. Isaac and Guillermo. Once we're home, I'm getting dinner ready because that's when I start cooking. And that's my oldest son. So remember I told you he was born with the cleft? So that's him. We had so this is after his second heart surgery. I pushed him as much as I could. I wanted him to graduate, but I think he also was battling his own emotions. So I think for him, high school was really difficult because he wanted to be the same. He wanted to be like everyone else. And I think a lot of the time I didn't understand that.
The local control funding formula was passed by the state legislature and started to be implemented across school districts in California in 2013. It's really a way for school districts that have high percentages of high-need students to receive the kinds of services that they need to close education equity gaps.
The local control funding formula is a hard thing for anyone to navigate, and it does take a lot of time.
So Healthy Richmond's role has really been to gather people from organizations and the community into a space to really learn about how to interact and navigate this very complicated piece of legislation, helping us figure out legally what the district's responsibility was, but even more than that, how were parents going to enter those rooms and know how to engage in a meeting, know what the rules of a meeting are.
So it was like everybody's just kind of doing it on their own, each advocating ourselves directly. And I think with Healthy Richmond, it really gave us a place to come together. So I think that's been really helpful.
When something does happen, what is usually what has happened to get you in a conversation?
Normally, I don't know. It depends on the situation.
Jaheim and I started at Kennedy at the same time, right? He was a freshman and I was a first-year administrator. So we were both learning and navigating a lot of things at a similar time. Lots of people refer to Jaheim as a debater. He's not on a debate team, but he can come back with a reason, an explanation. He's really good at analyzing different viewpoints. He's also a big-time advocate for himself and for others.
I think, you know, out of my most craziest moments here at Kennedy, she's been the calmest one.
See, this is an example right here.
She's just approached me with so much love, so much just like that vibe. Like she is just one of the administrations I value here at Kennedy. She's given me a lot of opportunities as a student here at Kennedy, and as my third year going on, I hope to be here for graduation.
Oh, you're going to be speaking at graduation.
I will.
Thank you. That means a lot.
We live in a school system that values willful defiance. Teachers don't really have to deal with us when we do get out of line, and I think it's not a restorative way, it's more of a punitive way. We should really be restoring the problem to a teacher-to-student allyship. The teacher isn't here just to teach, but it's also to learn from us. I speak for 33,000 students in the district. I speak for those who are English language learners, those who are African American, LGBTQ, foster care, homeless. I'm fighting for everyone.
I want to see him, you know, keep going out there and knocking walls down and, you know, succeeding, because he has the capabilities, and I, you know, want him to be served by this school district. I want him to get the support that he needs and that the rest of our youth need to be able and go do something and do something really big. So a lot of the work that I'm now involved in is really changing systems, especially when it comes to the school site councils, systems that can be implemented at every school. So there's more oversight, because our district sends a lot of money to our schools directly. And our schools have the power to make the decisions on what we spend on that.
The parents and the youth leaders have said, we want data so that we can review it in order to give you the best possible recommendations. And that's, I think, where the transparency has been challenging.
This year really felt like a slap in the face that, you know, we invest as parents, as community members, a lot of time, a lot of effort into doing the research to make the best decisions. And then for them to say, oh, well, thank you for your recommendations, but they didn't meet deadlines, but then this is a deadline you gave us. You know, sometimes you get hurt feelings in it. So I think there needs to be more clarity and more, you know, communication with the district. It's just really good to see the youth have the support, standing behind them saying, I trust you guys. And I think sometimes we forget to do that. Sometimes I'm sitting there thinking as a parent, what do I want? But I think they bring that, you know, what do we want as the ones that are being directly affected right now by it. With Jaheim, I have a lot of hope for him.
I got involved in a multitude of different internships, some being around education justice, food justice, environmental justice, and then I ended off with youth organizing, which I've stayed in for about 2 years.
There hasn't been much of a shift in terms of academic achievement for particularly the African American students, but I would say also English language learners.
Somewhere in our schools, we have rights. Getting suspended is probably what we've all wanted this whole time. Like, we don't deserve an education. Our schools are doing something that's terribly wrong and should be stopped, because no one's education should be played with. Because everyone has a right to learn. Doesn't matter the color of our skin, the money their parents make, the languages we speak, the age of our mind, the capability to learn. Somewhere in our schools, the bell will ring and I will finally see some smiling faces. The parents are outside waiting that their child has learned nothing. Somewhere in our schools, we are prepared to fail, which needs to be eliminated, because everyone deserves a chance to succeed.
Most of the progress that we've made has been around the process that takes place every year. We were able to advocate for a stronger set of bylaws that would give parents and young people a greater voice at the table. And those students were enormously effective this year in articulating some of the issues from their vantage point.
Love each other, support each other.
must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
This year, when the students spoke up at a recent meeting, the parents backed those students up. We really saw that as a huge win.
Parents are really stepping up, and how do we now make policy changes on systems? Now we're telling the school board when before I think we were so disconnected that we couldn't. That to me is a positive change. So we're now, really taking ownership of our schools.
The district is now actually in a place where they are interested in how to engage the community in a more authentic way. This is the first time we've heard those words from them, and I think it's because of the parents that have been involved to date.
It's a constant learning, and I think just finding that you can make a difference and we're all in it together, I really feel invested in my community. This is my contribution to generations to come. Having someone make decisions for you, it's not gonna cut it anymore. So I plan on running for school board in 2020. I wanna see more people from the community go out and feel like they're capable of sitting in these seats. Just seeing them up there and kind of feeling comfortable now in that space really opened my eyes to, okay, this is doable.